Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. A few minutes ago in Detroit, the Dean of the United States Congress offered his retirement immediately. He has asked me, a member of the Judiciary Committee, to offer his words to his colleagues and to again put this statement in the record that indicates that he has notified Speaker Ryan, Leader Pelosi, and Governor Snyder of my retirement from the United States House of Representatives. It is important to note, as I begin, that there is no difference or no undermining of the rights of women and the abhorrence of sexual harassment and sexual assault. But this is a statement that I believe should be read on behalf of the Dean of the United States Congress, Mr. John Conyers. As a member of Congress, I have known Mr. Conyers to not shy away from a legislative challenge. In addition to being the first member to introduce the Martin Luther King holiday bill, he was the first to hold hearings on police misconduct, the first to examine the problem of solitary confinement, the first to offer racial profiling legislation, the first to introduce legislation protecting against disenfranchisement of ex-felons, and the first to pursue legislation protecting black farmers from discrimination, among many other civil rights measures. In 2007, Representative Conyers stood up for the prerogatives of the House of Representatives, successfully brought a suit against a former President Bush White House for failing to comply with subpoenas relating to U.S. Attorney's investigation. He has been the chairman of the Judiciary Committee, and he will continue to, in his life, as he has indicated, stand for what is right. It is now my privilege to read this statement from Mr. John Conyers. I reiterate that he says that he notified Speaker Ryan, Leader Pelosi, and Governor Snyder of his retirement from the United States House of Representatives. It is his honor, these are his words, and his privilege to serve the constituents of Detroit, Michigan, as their United States Congressman in the 13th and 14th Congressional Districts for 53 years. He came to Congress, this is his statement again, I came to Congress in 1964. Since then, I have devoted my entire career to improving the lives of my constituents in Detroit on the behalf of justice everywhere. These years witnessed a profound evolution in civil rights, led by millions in the streets who marched for justice and people of conscience in the Congress, both Democrats and Republicans who heard them and enacted the Civil Rights Act, the Voting Rights Act, and other landmark reforms. I've been in the forefront of the civil rights movement. I've been a champion of justice for the oppressed and the disenfranchised. I never wavered in my commitment to justice and democracy. I am proud to have been part of that rich history. I have been privileged to be a founder of the Congressional Black Caucus and to represent the United States Congress by being Dean. I passed, as indicated, the law dealing with Martin Luther King Jr. holiday, the Violence Against Women's Act, the Hate Crimes Act, the USA Freedom, and the extension of the Voting Rights Act. I have led the fight against mandatory minimums, hoping to reverse the devastating incarceration rates for African Americans and poor people. I've tried to pass a universal health care law, H.R. 676. Every Congress since 1989, I have introduced H.R. 40 to study reparations for slavery, and I deeply appreciate those handful of courageous colleagues who have joined me. For Detroiters, I'm proud that we have been able to accomplish to bring hundreds of millions of dollars in critical grants and federal funding for Southeast Michigan to revitalize our great city, attract rich talent, and return to us prosperity. I recognize that in this present environment, due process will not be afforded to me. I was taught by my great woman, my mother, to honor women. The first employee I ever hired was Mrs. Rosa Parks, who worked in my office for 22 years. It has been my great honor to work alongside some of the most talented and honorable staff on Capitol Hill and in Detroit. I've stated my position on these allegations. I've worked with both women and men. Given the totality of the circumstance of not being afforded the right of due process in conjunction with current health conditions and to preserve my legacy and good name, I am retiring. I hope that my retirement will be viewed in the larger perspective of my record of service as I enter a new chapter. I pledge to continue my commitment to a progressive vision and a better future for this country that I love. I owe that to the legacy of my father, John Conyers Sr., who integrated labor unions in this country, to my brother Nathan, who integrated business, and he is my main man, and to my loving wife Monica, and to my sons John III, whom I believe offers hope to this generation of leadership, and who is committed to being an advocate of fairness and justice for all, and Carl Edward, who never leaves my side. I cannot allow the great work of this body to be distracted by their important work, or from their important work, or the goals of the Democratic Party to be distracted. It has been an honor and a privilege of my life to represent the people of Michigan in the House of Representatives, but that responsibility will now fall to my colleagues and my successor. They have my deepest support and prayers. Jobs, justice, and peace.